Friday or Saturday movie, where, old zombie type movie. And we were watching this thing about, doing these, with dolls, putting needles in it and stuff. So we go to the magic store because they had them. And so we took this doll and we put its name on it, Mr. Bender, and we started sticking needles in it and all that stuff. And then that was like on the weekend. Monday morning, we go to school and find out he's in the hospital with appendicitis.
Wow. Now, there you go. That's something. That's a story right there.
Well, like that, it probably just nothing more coincidental, but, we sat there like idiots, right? We told other students what we were doing, even before we found out he was in the hospital, like that morning in homeroom, we were sitting there saying, hey, I think even we might have had the doll with us and we were making fun of him with it, with all these needles in it. And I tell you, it was bad because when the teacher found out when he got out of the hospital and was back a couple of weeks later, he was out for me like you wouldn't believe. I mean, that's the first time in my life I was ever beat up. I was beat up outside of a portable. The teacher said, hey, I want to talk to you outside, and got me outside and started wailing on me.
Wow, really?
Oh, really?
I hope there was a lawsuit involved in that.
No. They wanted to suspend me from Denny.
We need to talk to you about this now. You know the law.
Yeah, they wanted to suspend me from school over that one, Denny Junior High. Well, hey, it didn't end there, okay? I was really a jerk at a young age, okay? Not saying I'm still not a jerk, but he had this old car. It was an old Plymouth that he restored. He loved it more than anything. And he had a custom paint job on it, right? So me and my friend Terry, we go down to the automotive paint store up in White Center, Washington, and we buy paint remover. But we just didn't buy normal paint remover. The guy said, hey, we have aircraft paint remover, guaranteed to remove any paint right away. We poured it all over his car. Boy, did I get beat up a second time.
Ooh, yeah, well, you start messing with some dude's car, and he's going to come after you for sure. I mean, the voodoo doll is one thing, but then the car, definitely he's going to come after you.
Oh, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, he threatened to sue me, or actually sue my parents, because I was a minor, right? And my dad was really ballsy, after World War II in Korea. And he said, oh, go ahead, sue me. But we're going to countersuit you for, beating my son up and doing all this other stuff. And you go to jail.
There you go.
And then, then after that, believe it or not, I went to that junior high school, Denny Junior High, for another 2 years. After that, never had a problem. He was actually even fakely friendly with me.
Wow. I would imagine the student or the teacher council had some words with him about all that, too,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, you haven't been saying much. I mean, I'm sitting here spilling my guts out to Ron.
Yeah, you haven't. Ron is a good therapist, actually, by listening to you out there.
Well, it's supposed to have been the other way around.
I do have a great question for Ron, though. I was wondering if he has ever been in a situation where he has been banned to perform because of some of the shocking things that he does.
Well, kind of, yes. I mean, there's two things that immediately come to mind, and one was I was booked to do a show at a high school, and I had at that point I was doing my cable television show. And it was a local origination cable TV show, which ran, in some of Chicago and then throughout the suburbs. And the show was, it's me performing, and of course I'm, sticking, doing the vampire's kiss and doing, gothic illusions, and having lots of dark, sticky, weird fun on the show. So, the administration wasn't too keen on having me there. So that's like, the very last minute, the day before the show, they canceled the show, kind of unceremoniously. No good reason, nothing like that. But it's their school, their prerogative, and there wasn't much I could do about it. Now, the students put on a bit of a protest about it and stuff like that. But, it certainly wasn't going to get the show restored. So that was something that got canceled of mine that because they did not like the I guess, dark and rather flippant nature of my style of performance and my TV show at the time. And then and this is basically this was not so much banned, but close to shutting down a show. My show was almost shut down. Kind of shut down at the end, but we finished the show by the Chicago Police Department. Probably the only illusion show ever in the city limits of Chicago that was ever shut down by the police. I was performing one Halloween at a futon store, right on Futon in Chicago, and we're performing in their storefront window. And it was beautiful. It was like 70 degrees. It was like a super warm, beautiful Halloween, and it was Halloween proper. And we're behind the big, storefront window, and inside where the display would usually be of the futons, and I'm performing my illusion show in there and everything. And so the sound is being pumped out, and we're drawing a huge audience, and they're covering the sidewalk and spilling in the street. So that's starting to get some people's attention. And people aren't liking that because, of course, it's blocking the sidewalk and things like that. And there was somebody that was calling in because they did not like the sound that was being pumped out. It was somebody, it was some woman at home alone on Halloween, not having fun, didn't want anyone else to have fun. So she had called and cursed them out at the store on their answering machine. And then as soon as the sound ordinance kicked in at around 10:30, the Chicago police could come in and get us on the sound. They couldn't do much before that. And that and the fact that the audience was kind of, blocking the sidewalk and spilling into the street and everything because we drew a huge crowd. And we could hear the sirens and see the lights coming on as the cop cars were coming up towards the store. And the owner, he runs out there to hold them off just long enough because as the police were coming up, I was just ending the show with, of course, your favorite illusion, the cremation illusion. So I'm about to set someone on fire in a coffin in the storefront window, and the Chicago PTs are rolling up, and I'm like, and the owners of the store is just like, you got to hurry this, you got to finish this now. And so we just got it done before the police got in there and pulled the plug on our sound and everything else. But that was quite fun. So that's something else where the show was kind of canceled, almost canceled by somebody. But other than that, I haven't had a whole lot of crazy protesters or cancellations or anything. Thankfully, the world seems to love my dark, sticky fun, so I keep doing it.
Well, I got another question. How hard is it for you to find assistance? I mean, to go into, some of the illusions that you put on. I mean, Is it hard to find people willing to, trust you 100%?
Not at all. No. I mean, they know it's an illusion, and they know that it could be, provocative and, it gets interesting. But when I either put out a casting, notice for it, or invite somebody in that I've worked with and say, hey, would you like to work with me on this? Everybody seems to be kind of into it. It's funny because so many, including several of my helpers, they're dancers and things like that, and they're so kind of tickled and geeked out to be in an illusion show, in a magic and illusion show, because they thought they would never have the opportunity to do that. So it seems like it's not hard to find people, and when I do, everybody seems to be very, very into it because they love doing it because it's so different and it's such a rare opportunity that a lot of performers don't get to work on a show like this.
Yeah, but you discriminate on these assistants. I have not seen, from what I've seen on your website and everything else on the internet, I have not seen one ugly assistant yet.
Well, it is show business, so...
Yeah, but you realize about half the women... I'm not going to say that. Forgive it. I just put my foot in my mouth.
You're digging yourself a hole now, buddy.
there is some, just like men, like me, that are not attractive. I mean, but that's America. That's a society worldwide. So
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, different strokes for different folks, and nothing is truer, especially today when any kind of relationship you want is on the table. You can have that relationship.
How about under the table? I prefer that.
Well,
at my age, getting on the table is too hard.
Table too. Oh, I've seen that happen in nightclubs. Yeah. There's a lot of that. Oh yeah.
I hope.
Michael came and talks great now.
I hope Ron has each one of his assistants signing a non-disclosure agreement. By the way, so they're not going to disclose.
NDAs for everybody. Oh yes, you got to do that. Yep.
Good for you.
Yeah, kind of have an NDA. Make sure everybody's on board and keeping secrets and not talking about all the behind the scenes stuff, because that's going to be in my book later. So
okay, that's cool. Now you've played in Hong Kong and all these other countries. How did the people, the audience, how did the people in Hong Kong, for example, how did they accept some of these? Things you do.
They love it. You were talking about some of those things I do in the show that scare people. The other one is that the people can also see in the movie Dark Realm is I do this thing that I call the head mover, where I actually chop off somebody's that my lovely assistant. Once again, I chop off her head on stage, and when her her head comes off, I mean the audience literally will gasp when that happens. And that the first time I experienced that, because when I started to work with that illusion, was in the Hong Kong shows. I was there for a month for the Hong Kong Halloween Festival, and they loved it. Everybody thought it was a really cool show. They loved the illusions. They loved the music that I was bringing in, because it was not anything they were used to seeing in a show like that. And so they really liked it, but they were a little, there's a few things I was, doing the vampire's kiss and doing this head mover illusion, and those things they did, it scared some of the people, which was the whole point. It's Halloween shows, so they expected to have a little scary material in there, but we gave them a good surprise here and there, and they loved it. So it seems to work everywhere, that I'm able to take it.
Now, what countries have you played in so far?
I've performed in the UK and in Hong Kong and a little bit in Canada, but I haven't done a huge amount of foreign travel as of yet.
Okay. Well, I've dropped it out there, taken it out there a few times. To different places, and there's more interest coming in at this point because of the movie and other things. So we'll see what's we'll see what's next. It's really interesting. Yeah. Well, how about relationship wise? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Are you in a relationship or not in a relationship?
I am. I have a lovely girlfriend, and she's very gothic and witchy herself, and. So yeah, she gets what I do and loves what I do, and she's very, very interesting and very, very much in tune with and into the whole paranormal horror angle of everything as well.
Oh wow, that makes it so much better when you're in a relationship where you have something totally in common. Sometimes you could have a spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend that totally doesn't like what a person does. So it's great.
Well, it is. I mean, there's things stylistically that can bring you together, and I was certainly interested in that. And then, I am a bohemian weirdo at heart, so I need someone that can roll with that. I mean, normal people, normal women in a relationship, they don't know what the hell to do with me. I need somebody that knows how to work with that, how to roll with that, and wants to, can work with and is looking for a very unusual lifestyle. And that's, we both have that. That's part of what works for us, because, being an actor and illusionist and, somebody who's just really, I mean, you know, Dose magazine called me the outsider of the outsiders. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at sometimes, you know.
Now, do you live that, you know, the way of the goth